Yo, you won't believe what went down on Kendra G's show. So, Ashley, a single mom of 5 kids from different fathers, spills exactly what she wants in a man. And get this, she expects him to cover the mortgage, all the bills, and her kids, even though they are not his. Kendra G was shocked. She leaned in and asked, "Wait, you want a man to take on all of this, just because he's a man?" And that's when things got real. People are debating this everywhere. Should a man really have to do all that? Stick around, because we're breaking down every jaw-dropping moment and why this sparked such a massive conversation. Hey everyone, it's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back with another episode of Celebrity Junk. About 10 days ago, Kendra G had a guest on her show named Ashley, who's currently living in Florida. Ashley is a mother of 5, with children from 2 different fathers, and has been divorced for some time. On the show, she shared the type of man she's looking for. A God-fearing man who is a true provider and protector, someone who can romance her while also managing finances responsibly. Kendra G was surprised and wanted more clarity, asking if Ashley expected him to handle all the bills. Ashley responded that she sees herself as a Proverbs 31-style helpmate, ready to support when needed, but the major responsibilities, like the mortgage, should fall on the man. She's happy to pitch in with groceries, kids, or smaller bills, but the core financial duties should be his. At this point, Kendra G was completely floored. She leaned in and asked, "Wait a minute, you want to meet a man who's expected to cover your kids, the mortgage, and everything else, even though these kids aren't his?" The question hung in the air, heavy with disbelief. And I'm not hating. Everyone has their standards when it comes to relationships, and it's natural to want a partner who can provide stability and support. But even Kendra G, known for her outspoken feminist views and her advocacy for women's empowerment, couldn't hide the shock on her face. The audacity of this single mom, who expected so much from a man she had just met, was astonishing. It wasn't just about finances. This was about the sheer scale of what she assumed a man should be willing to take on without hesitation or question. And it only got more intense from there. The expectations she outlined weren't minor, they were monumental. The man she wanted wasn't just responsible for her, but for 4 or 5 children already living in her household. On top of that, if he had a child of his own, the assumption seemed to be that he would integrate that responsibility seamlessly into her existing family structure. Essentially, she was asking someone to become the primary provider and caretaker for a full household, one that included multiple children who weren't biologically his, while still managing the regular challenges of everyday life. From the mortgage and bills to groceries, school expenses, and general household upkeep, the list of responsibilities was staggering. And somehow, the expectation was that this man would not only manage all of it but also maintain his own life and priorities without any compromise. Kendra G, in her usual candid manner, tried to explain that this scenario might not be realistic or fair for any man, regardless of his income or intentions. She pointed out that asking someone to step into such a massive role without considering their perspective or limitations placed an enormous and potentially unmanageable burden on them. It wasn't a question of unwillingness, it was a matter of practicality and fairness. What Jackson found refreshing was that Kendra G had the courage to address it openly, to call out the situation for what it was rather than gloss over it or make excuses. In a culture where some voices are hesitant to hold women accountable for unrealistic demands, Kendra's honesty was a welcome intervention. At first glance, one might think she was holding this woman to stricter standards than men, but upon closer inspection, the situation highlighted an important reality. Many men are hesitant to step into circumstances like these, not because they don't want commitment, love, or family life, but because the stakes are incredibly high. When expectations are skewed, when the responsibility falls almost entirely on one person, and when there is little clarity about what the other side is contributing, men naturally hesitate. Relationships require balance. They thrive on reciprocity, mutual respect, and a shared understanding of each partner's roles and responsibilities. Without those elements, the risk of burnout, resentment, and dissatisfaction becomes significant. This situation serves as a prime example of why men sometimes approach dating and relationships with caution. It underscores the need for transparency, honesty, and realistic expectations on both sides. While wanting a stable, supportive partner is completely valid, expecting someone to shoulder the weight of an entire household, especially when children from previous relationships are involved, without reciprocity is asking a lot. It's a reminder that partnership is a two-way street. Both people need to contribute, both people need to feel valued, and both people need to share in the responsibilities of building a life together. When one person's expectations heavily outweigh the other's, hesitation, caution, and even withdrawal are understandable responses. In the end, this moment on Kendra's show wasn't about shaming anyone. It was about illustrating a critical truth. Relationships only succeed when both parties are willing to meet each other halfway. Men's hesitancy in such situations is not a flaw or a moral failing. It's a reflection of the natural need for fairness, equity, and balance in partnership. By addressing these imbalances openly, conversations like these help shed light on why some dating dynamics are challenging and what it truly takes to create a sustainable, mutually supportive relationship. When it comes to speed dating events, mixers, and other social avenues for meeting potential partners, there's a growing reality that contributes to men's hesitation to fully engage. It's not that every woman behaves this way, of course. There are countless women out there who are supportive, balanced, and genuinely interested in creating strong, equitable relationships. But encounters with women who expect a man to shoulder the bulk of responsibilities, both financial and otherwise, without meaningful partnership, have created a noticeable imbalance in the dating landscape. These situations often make men pause, reconsider, or even withdraw entirely from the dating pool. They aren't inherently against commitment, love, or marriage. In fact, many men long for a true partnership, where both individuals bring value, effort, and dedication to the relationship. The issue arises when expectations become one-sided. When a man is asked to provide extensively, covering bills, mortgages, childcare, and other major responsibilities, without clarity on what he receives in return or how the relationship balances out, it places a heavy and sometimes unrealistic burden on him. The natural result is hesitancy. Men begin to think twice, not because they are unwilling to commit or unwilling to provide, but because the relationship feels skewed from the outset. A truly healthy relationship requires collaboration, shared responsibility, and reciprocity. When both partners contribute to the well-being of the household, to emotional support, to financial stability, and to the overall partnership, a man's desire to invest, to work harder, and to provide grows organically. He feels motivated not out of obligation, but out of mutual respect and the knowledge that his efforts are appreciated and reciprocated. Reciprocity in relationships isn't just about money or resources. It's about effort, consideration, and emotional investment. A partnership is a two-way street. Men, just like women, want to feel valued, supported, and respected. When a woman actively participates in managing the household, shares responsibilities, encourages her partner's growth, and contributes meaningfully to the relationship's success, it creates a sense of balance that motivates a man to step up, not because he is forced to, but because he wants to. Conversely, when expectations are imbalanced, or when one partner assumes they deserve extensive benefits without offering equivalent support, tension and disengagement often follow. Discussions around movements like the red pill stem directly from this imbalance. While some critique these movements as misogynistic or extreme, they are, in many cases, reactions to patterns of perceived inequality in dating dynamics. Nobody wants to feel used, manipulated, or taken advantage of, men or women. If one partner's expectations are heavily skewed, the other may naturally step back or adopt protective behaviors. These reactions, while sometimes criticized, are rooted in self-preservation and the desire for a fair, equitable partnership. Understanding this perspective is crucial for anyone trying to navigate the modern dating world. The key to overcoming these challenges lies in parity. When both partners understand and respect each other's needs, desires, and limitations, most of the friction in dating and relationships disappears. Women who are empathetic toward men's ambitions, time, and contributions, and men who recognize and appreciate the unique value women bring to the relationship, create environments where love, trust, and mutual growth can flourish. In these scenarios, relationships are not transactional, but collaborative. Effort is not weighed solely on one side, and each partner feels fulfilled in giving and receiving. Yet, despite the obvious benefits of balanced partnerships, the problem persists when expectations remain skewed. Some women may unknowingly or intentionally place disproportionate demands on men, expecting financial provision, emotional support, and household management, without offering equivalent contributions in return. Similarly, some men may expect women to conform to traditional roles without considering the partner's aspirations or needs. Both scenarios create friction, distrust, and dissatisfaction. Genuine partnership becomes harder to find when either side approaches relationships from a position of self-interest rather than collaboration. education, and communication are central to solving this issue. Individuals entering the dating world need to reflect on what they bring to a relationship as much as what they expect from their partner. They need to consider the long-term sustainability of a relationship built on reciprocity, shared values, and mutual respect. It's about asking, am I supporting my partner as much as I want them to support me? Am I contributing meaningfully to the life we are building together? When these questions are taken seriously, dating dynamics shift from transactional to transformational. Men are more willing to invest their time, energy, and resources, while women feel supported, respected, and appreciated. The result is a healthier, more vibrant, and more sustainable relationship environment for everyone. Ultimately, men's hesitancy in speed dating events and mixes isn't a reflection of disinterest or avoidance. It's a response to repeated experiences where partnership lacks balance. When expectations are fair, contributions are mutual, and communication is open, men engage enthusiastically, women feel valued, and meaningful connections can develop naturally. The dating world, while complex, can be far less intimidating when both sides approach relationships with empathy, understanding, and reciprocity. When men and women align their expectations, share responsibilities, and invest in one another's growth, the path to lasting partnership becomes not only achievable but deeply fulfilling for everyone involved. Kendra G didn't hold back, calling out the unrealistic expectations. She pointed out that expecting a man to fully provide for her and her 4 children, including the mortgage, rent, food, and groceries, is not only unrealistic but selfish. These kids aren't his, and their care currently falls on her and their fathers, yet she wants a new man to step in as the primary provider simply because he's a man. Ashley insisted she sees herself as a helpmate, willing to assist if needed, but maintained that the man must cover the bigger expenses. She clarified that now, having grown and become financially independent, she's in a different position than when she was younger and didn't receive that support from her previous partner or her children's fathers. While it's fair for her to seek a partner who meets her standards, Kendra G highlighted that her expectations add a significant burden, especially considering the number of children involved. Kendra G continued pressing, pointing out that expecting a man to fully support her and 5 children, kids from previous relationships, is a heavy burden. She asked whether Ashley considered that a man with the financial means to meet these demands might find a partner whose situation is less complicated. She highlighted the one-sided often seen in relationships, particularly in the Black community, where the needs and desires of the other person are sometimes overlooked. Kendra G compared it to successful businesses like Apple, Walmart, and Microsoft, which thrive because they consider the needs of everyone involved, not just themselves. Ashley admitted she hadn't been intimate with anyone in 2 years and was waiting until marriage, meaning she wanted both financial provision and complete abstinence until marriage. While Kendra G acknowledged that there are single moms out there who find partners willing to meet these standards, she underscored that this level of expectation, without considering what the man needs or wants, can make forming a balanced, successful relationship extremely challenging. O'Shea Duke Jackson took a moment to reflect on Ashley's situation by comparing her to other single moms he knows personally, women who are not only talented and resourceful but who also bring genuine value into a man's life. These are women who contribute, support, and enhance a relationship, creating a dynamic where both partners benefit and grow together. They are capable of handling their responsibilities, and their presence adds richness, stability, and partnership to a relationship rather than placing the burden primarily on one person. Jackson emphasized that this is the standard for relationships that are truly sustainable: mutual support, shared responsibilities, and an understanding of each other's needs. In Ashley's case, while she may possess some resourcefulness, the core issue isn't just about what she brings to the table, it's about the imbalance in her expectations. She was asking for a man to provide extensively, paying bills, covering the mortgage, taking care of her children, and doing all of this while waiting for intimacy until marriage. The question that Jackson and many others raised was simple: what does the man get in return? When the benefits of a partnership are unclear, undefined, or entirely one-sided, it becomes difficult to build a relationship that is healthy, equitable, and satisfying for both parties. Men entering such a situation are taking on massive responsibilities without knowing if their efforts will be recognized, appreciated, or reciprocated. Jackson pointed out that this type of one-sided thinking, where one partner assumes the other should fulfill all needs without consideration of their own, is not unique to Ashley or even a single community. It's a broader issue that surfaces in dating dynamics across different social and cultural groups. Men often become hesitant to pursue relationships under these conditions, not because they are inherently opposed to love, commitment, or partnership, but because they are faced with a situation that feels imbalanced and risky. When expectations are stacked heavily on their shoulders without reciprocity, it creates friction, doubt, and frustration, which can lead to disengagement. At the same time, Jackson acknowledged that women experience their own frustrations in the dating world. When men step back or hesitate, women sometimes interpret this as disinterest or, in extreme cases, misogyny. This misunderstanding exacerbates the disconnect between men and women, creating a cycle where expectations clash and genuine connections are difficult to establish. He stressed that the solution doesn't lie in assigning blame to one side. Rather, it lies in establishing relationships where both partners are conscious of each other's needs, capabilities, and limitations. True partnership, he explained, requires balance, open communication, and a willingness to contribute equally to the success and well-being of the household and the relationship itself. Even Kendra G, a well-known voice in relationship discussions and a self-proclaimed feminist, was taken aback by Ashley's demands. She pointed out that a man earning six figures, a person with the means to meet such financial expectations, would likely pursue a partnership with someone whose approach to relationships is balanced and mutually beneficial. Kendra's perspective highlighted the importance of parity in relationships, the idea that both parties should bring something meaningful to the table, whether that's financial contribution, emotional support, partnership in parenting, or household management. Without that balance, she argued, relationships are prone to strain, dissatisfaction, and eventual breakdown. Jackson took this point further, stressing that meaningful relationships are built on reciprocity. What one gives matters as much as what one expects. If a woman expects a man to take care of her children, pay the bills, and provide a lifestyle for the entire family, she must also be prepared to contribute in ways that support him, not just financially, but emotionally, physically, and psychologically. This could include managing the household, providing support and encouragement, helping with the children, or bringing resources and skills that enhance the overall partnership. Reciprocity doesn't mean keeping score, he clarified, but it does mean ensuring that the relationship is not one-sided. Both partners should feel valued, supported, and fulfilled. Jackson also warned about the seller's market mentality, where one partner assumes they are the only option or that they deserve certain benefits simply because of who they are. This type of thinking undermines relationships because it removes consideration for the other person's needs and desires. A successful partnership requires empathy, mutual respect, and an understanding that each person is making sacrifices, contributing effort, and providing value in return. Without these elements, relationships become transactional and unsustainable, rather than collaborative and nurturing. Finally, Jackson encouraged viewers to reflect critically before entering the dating market. He reminded them that love and partnership are not just about finding someone to meet personal demands. They are about creating together where both partners feel supported, appreciated, and empowered. Setting expectations is important, but so is considering the perspective of the other person. When relationships are approached with fairness, transparency, and reciprocity, both men and women can thrive, building lasting partnerships grounded in trust, respect, and mutual growth. In conclusion, Jackson's commentary served as both a critique and a lesson. While it's natural to want a partner who meets certain standards, it's equally important to consider what one brings to the relationship. Single moms, like any partner, deserve love and support, but the most successful relationships occur when both sides are invested, engaged, and committed to contributing to the life they are building together. Balance, reciprocity, and mutual respect, he emphasized, are the keys to transforming dating challenges into opportunities for meaningful connection.